The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And here we are, episode 101.
101.
101.
Yeah.
What is our topic?
This is meditation, grounding, and shielding.
Cool.
Yes, I'm excited for this one.
Important.
It is, and I talk about this a lot, so yeah. Excited.
Cool. Before we hop into it, do you have anything you want to share from last week?
I do. Last week we did angel numbers, and one of our listeners in the discussion group posted this on the wall. I don't know if you read this yet. I'm sitting outside. This is from Melissa. I'm sitting outside enjoying a beautiful day listening to your podcast. I'm a believer in coincidence, and I never heard of angel numbers. I told my deceased mother that 17 would be our number, and I would start looking for it. Maybe 3 minutes later, I look up and there's a cardinal sitting in the tree above me. It sat there for a long time, then started to sing. It sang for a minute or two, then flew down past me and flew away. I started laughing and said, "Okay, Mom, I got it. I just got a tattoo of pink roses for my mom with a cardinal." So cool. So that
Very
was
cool.
her probably validating that, okay,
Right.
17, that's it. So
Remember that video we watched of the older ladies that their mother
Yeah.
passed away, and was she a lover of cardinals?
I think they said with their mom ahead of time to
Right.
send cardinals after
And
she died.
so one flew onto their arm,
Yeah.
and then she was trying to get it to fly away, and it would
go.
fly like for a second and come right back on her arm.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
That was
It
cool.
That was really cool. So
Yeah.
they're a sign. They're like one of those general signs, but they're also one that people set a lot of times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always take those when I see cardinals as they're a sign from heaven. for
That's a
sure.
great story.
So yeah, thanks Melissa for
Thank
that.
you, Melissa.
Quickly, because we got a lot to get into, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. My Moldavite is here.
Yay.
I'm not wearing it yet. I'm going to start tomorrow. Tonight's the full moon, so I need to
Cleanse it.
Yes, cleanse and charge it, and then I will start tomorrow.
Cool.
And we will see where this goes.
Yeah.
So be here for the journey. I know that we have some listeners that are going through a tough time right now, and I don't want to name names, but I just wanted to say that we're thinking about you. I feel like right now there's a lot of people that are having like these things that are happening that are coming out of the blue and are really jarring their lives. And so I just wanted to reach out and say, we're here and
It's
we're
going to
with
be
you.
okay.
Yeah.
Life
Gonna
is
be
like
with you.
this.
It is. There go the tears. But yeah, we're here. So we understand, and I just wanted them to know that we're sending our love to you.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So, and then there was one other thing. I've been getting a lot of friend requests on Facebook lately from people that I don't know, and I'm starting to realize that these are listeners. And so if you friend requested me on Facebook and I denied it, it's because I really had no idea. We have no mutual friends. So if you want to friend request me, that's fine. Just send me a message first. And then that way I know, because I feel bad. Like there was one guy that messaged us and he friend requested me on Facebook and I denied it. And then I was like, oh, well now I have to, do the walk of shame and say, I'll friend request you. I'm sorry. I didn't know that, So yeah, so just
It's
send me a
understandable,
message.
but a message ahead of time. It's like, hey, I heard you. I'd really like to
Yeah.
connect with you.
Yeah, because you never know. There's a lot of like those accounts that try and hack you or whatever. So I'm just kind of careful about things. So
No problem with that. I
Yeah.
totally understand.
yeah, so that's what I have for last week.
Cool. Awesome. Well, then let's hop into episode 101. Meditation, grounding, and shielding.
Yay! Okay, so first of all, what is meditation? Meditation is a set of techniques that are intended to encourage heightened states of awareness and focused attention. Meditation is a skill. This is very important because I think that a lot of people think it's either you get it or you don't. And that's not it at all. It's a skill. You have to build
It's like a
it.
muscle, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and that's what I put here. It's like trying to learn anything else. Your brain is a muscle. If you go to the gym, like let's say that you're going to go to the gym and you're going to work on a 6-pack, right? It's not going to happen overnight. You have to build it. So just like this is the same thing. You have to learn to understand meditation and how it works and why you're doing it. And is it a lot of work? Yeah, it is. But I'll tell you that once you push through those barriers of how much work it is, it's worth it. It really is worth it. I don't know what I would do without that ability now to meditate, because at first I was just like everybody else and I had the worst time with it. If there was any noise in the house at all going on while I was trying to meditate, I was like, oh, I can't do this.
Right.
You know, but now it doesn't matter.
Right.
You just have to learn. You have to build that.
I think that's part of it, is you have to be able to block the hardest thing to block out is your own mind.
Right, exactly. It really is.
It really is the hardest part.
Hardest thing.
It can be achieved.
It can be. It just takes some work. So I can credit them. One of the places that I got some of the research that I did today is headspace.com. And this website, they have guided meditations. I didn't get a chance to look through all of their stuff, but they really explain and break this down well.
Right.
So if we don't break it down well, or you need more information, headspace.com. So far from what I've seen, I recommend it.
Cool.
I asked our listeners if they meditate on a regular basis, and 50% said no. Shame. I get it, though.
But that's still a good number. I mean,
for most people, you know.
Half, I'm surprised. That's good, though.
It's a 25% say I try, 20% said yes, and 5% said that they're just getting started with meditation. So this is great. Hopefully this will give some of the people that are just getting started or need more tips, or even the ones that have never done it before. Like, I'm hoping that we can, get through to some other people, because this is like taking an anti-anxiety medication without having to put something unnatural in your body.
That really is the beauty of it, yeah.
It
you
is.
can control and correct a lot of things within yourself with this.
Yes. A couple important points of meditation. You're not trying to turn off your thoughts. That's not what this is about. You're learning to quiet your mind so you can better understand your thoughts and feelings. If you're trying to completely stop your thoughts, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Right. That's good to know, because for me that was a big struggle at the beginning. Was like, I can't stop. And it's you're right. You're still thinking.
You're still thinking.
But it's much quieter. And usually more positive too.
Yes. Yes, and we'll get into later how to do it, how to meditate properly, and talk about that more later. But also, it is practice. This is a practice. It's meditation practice, not meditation perfect. Your mind will always wander, and that's okay. It's how you train your brain. There is no right or wrong way to meditate as long as you're trying. That's another thing. People are like, I don't know what I'm doing. And there really isn't. Like, I've developed what has worked well for me. And I'm going to share that later so that, you guys can take maybe what might work for you. But what works for me might not work for you. And what you see in, like, movies where, they're like, and they're all, like, chill and everything. They're still in their head. Trust me. Those things, they're still in their head. They're not,
Right.
Totally
they haven't
silent.
checked out.
Even monks, are probably not 100% able to shut their thoughts off, because that's how this works. You have to go and like grab the thought and bring it back, bring yourself back to where you need to be. That's a part of the meditation practice, is to bring yourself back to where you need to be.
Right.
So, what are some of the benefits of meditation? Well, completing one 15-minute session can reduce mind wandering by 22%. And 15 minutes is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a lot. And I'm not recommending anybody start with 15 minutes. You can start with 2 minutes if you need to. But 5 is probably a good place to start.
Yeah, I would say 5 is good.
Yeah. And also 14% increase in focus. You can also improve your sleep, increase compassion. You have a higher pain tolerance. I've been having these ear problems, and it's just my ear popping. And I had like a phone meeting the other day with the doctor, and she said, well, do you have any ear pain? And you know what? I don't, but my pain tolerance is a lot higher now. And so like, I'm not going to go by my pain tolerance, because I really think that as I build this, I become more and more tolerant of that, which is interesting. And I didn't know that was maybe something coming from the meditation, but that totally makes sense. You'll have less intrusive thoughts, an overall feeling of wellness, sense of peace, improved relationships, and better understanding of life. This is just some of the things that meditation can do for you.
That's enough.
Do anti-anxiety medications do all this for you? No, they don't at all. But we take those because that's the easy way. Let me take this little pill. And I'm not preaching, because I've done this in the past too. It's easier. But it's in the long run, it's not. It's not, because they're hard to get off of. They're not good for you.
It's changing a chemical imbalance in you that makes it appear like everything is okay. But if you're not doing like that internal kind of work or search, it really isn't going to improve if you ever got off the medication. Right,
exactly. So you have to find ways to calm yourself and, bring yourself back to center. And that's really what meditation is it's bringing you back to center. It's making you more aware, and because we all get the racing minds, and this is now for me how I stop it. I'm like, I gotta go meditate. Today I've meditated twice, and it's felt really good, because I wanted to do my meditation as I normally do it, so that when I went into the show today, I was fresh and could say, this is how I do mine. So I meditated the second time, and like, you're not necessarily supposed to get messages while you're meditating. That's not like supposed to be the outcome. But for me, it just naturally happens. And today it was like, here's a bunch of them at the same time.
Because you're quieting your own mind. So then if you're open to it, which you're very open to the other side, it seems like a good time for a message to come in clear.
That's exactly right. Because if I'm trying to get a message, let's just say that I'm purposely trying to ask a question, okay? What I've learned to do, and I was explaining this to you the other day, is I shut my brain off to the point where I'm not thinking about anything. That's what this has taught me to do, is that, but I'm still thinking like, will you give me the message? Or, I have thoughts, but they're not like off in no man's land or whatever. And then I wait for the other thought to come in. But if my mind, like if I'm in a state of mind where I'm not connected, I can sit there like Jeopardy and just wait, and it won't come to me. My mind has to be quiet, because how am I supposed to hear what they're trying to tell me? It's like and you've compared it before to a radio. These messages, when they come in, the signal, you have to turn to get the right signal. So if you're not meditated, or your mind is being loud and they're trying to send the messages in, you're not going to be able to tune that dial to the correct frequency. So you might get bits and pieces of the messages, which are fine. Like, I can do much better detailed readings when I've meditated at least once that day. I can do readings if I haven't, but they're not as detailed, because I can't listen as clearly. It's just how it works, And so when I first started this whole journey, people kept telling me, like the people I was turning to, they kept telling me, you need to meditate, you need to ground, you need to shield. And I was like, you need to meditate, you need to ground, you need to shield. I didn't want to hear about it.
I'm very similar like that.
I didn't want to hear about it anymore. But I realize now why they said that. Why they ground it into my brain that I needed to do this, because it has been like key to my spiritual journey. It really has.
And life is, like we said earlier at the beginning, it's got its ups and downs, and this helps you feel like when it's in those moments of chaos that it's not that chaotic.
Exactly.
It's just like that added extra insurance, and it helps you throughout the day-to-day.
Exactly. Yep, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about how to meditate, because I don't think that this is really taught. We're just taught, okay, you can meditate, but how do you do it? Are you supposed to be relaxed when you sit down to meditate? Well, no. That's not how this works. Sometimes I will start to meditate and I will feel like this isn't working for me. And that's when I know that I need it the most. And I will have to tell myself, no, this is when you need it. When you're telling yourself this is too hard, this is when you need it.
Right.
So you're not most likely, I mean, if you're in a great frame of mind, you can still meditate then. That's great. So you might be going into this peacefully. But I think for most people, when they do meditation, they're not going into it with a completely peaceful mind. They need to be relaxed.
They're trying to get out, finish it with that.
Exactly.
As the result. Yeah.
Exactly. So you can do, like, if your energy is really high and you're afraid that you just can't go into a meditation, take some deep breaths before you even start to try, or do some yoga. Like you meditate at the end of yoga, because you are more relaxed at that point. Do some stretches, do some things that maybe can calm you down. But you can do this straight from high anxiety.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of, like you were saying earlier, there's all kinds of formats that you can find everywhere.
Yes.
That are sounds. There could be a talking one that guides you. There's some that, if you don't like that and you want to just hear nature sounds, there's that. There's music.
Yes.
There's all different kinds of things that if you focus long enough on these sounds, you can really calm yourself down.
Yes. I definitely recommend that you start with something guided that will just help you, like this.
But even the sound of their voice, because it's slower, it's calmer.
Yep.
You just focus on even that and what they're saying. It's enough to just calm you.
Yeah, I really go by, when I find my guided ones, off of their voice. I did one with you the other day, the Chakra meditation. I love that guy's voice because, and I'm going to give the information about it later. It's in my notes. But his voice is just so calming, and he has a beautiful accent, and it just, every time it just brings me. So you have to find what works for you. If somebody talking to you in a meditation doesn't work for you, if you just want the quiet music, then, the gentle music, you can do that too. Sometimes, like with guided meditations, they'll take a long break in between, like when they're talking to you and when they start talking to you again. And those times, I have found myself kind of falling asleep. So those are harder for me. Those ones, and that is very common. If you are putting yourself in a position when you're meditating that you could fall asleep, then you will. That's why, I'm not you will, but you could. I prefer to meditate in the shower. I have no chance that I'm going to fall asleep in the shower. That's just not me. So I know that I'm alert for this meditation. But, you still got to be careful with that.
Right.
Okay. But really the first thing that you're going to want to do is to find a quiet place. And it does help to have an eye mask when you're first starting out. I still use my eye mask if I'm doing regular meditation because I love it. It just blocks everything out, So if you have an eye mask, even better.
Yeah.
And then you just want to focus on your breath. So you're just, taking deep breaths. And really that alone is going to slow you down and get you into a place where you can meditate. And then if you want to do the guided meditation or whatever it is you want to do, that's where that comes in. And
it's also helpful in terms of quieting your mind too, because it's giving you something to focus on.
Yes.
So when I find myself drifting my thoughts, to whatever, I'll just
exactly
breathing. We're focusing.
That's exactly
on the breathing.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of that, going.
Yes. Bringing
yourself back to.
Yes.
Center, back to center. You feel like a toddler that just wants to run around the room, and you're like, nah.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about my shielding later that I did, but while I was doing that today, I definitely went off of focus, and I was like, as I was using gold light to fill me up, and then all of a sudden I was like, I love gold from Gold Member, and I was like, oh, he's Dutch too, isn't that weird? And then I was like, no.
There's the class clown.
Right. But that's what happens. That's normal. You can't help it. So then I have to go, okay, like you said,
Right.
Right back to where you were before.
Yeah. Like you have to be the good teacher and not like scold yourself, but just remind yourself like, that's funny, but come on, let's focus.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I hear it from my guides too. My mom especially. What are you talking about?
You know what we're talking about.
Right. Go back. Yeah. Go back into your meditation, you ding dong. Yeah. All the time. One of the ways that I learned how to meditate as a teenager, and I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. She just told me that I was learning to calm myself to sleep better, but I really was doing meditation. But what she taught me how to do is a body scan. And this is where you can probably meditation. You could do this for sleep too. But if you're going to do it for meditation, I would suggest sitting up. And what you're going to do is do like a scan of your body. You're going to close your eyes and do this deep breathing, right? And then you're going to visualize your body and where these tight areas of your body might be. Where are you holding in this, you know, the anxiety or whatever? The way that I did it is I just started at my toes and worked my way up, relaxing each muscle.
Yes, those are very effective.
Yeah. Concentrating on each muscle, relaxing it. You know, when you get to the ones that are trouble, putting extra emphasis on those. And then you're relaxing your body, but at the same time, you're relaxing your mind because you're relaxing your body.
Yep.
So that was the first way that I learned how to meditate.
Right.
I don't use that a whole lot anymore, but it is definitely a great place to start.
Yeah.
For me, I've mentioned that I prefer to meditate in the shower. There's a couple, I do like the whole thing, and we're going to get into shielding and grounding later, but right now I'm just going to talk about the meditation part. This is what I start with. When I get into the shower, I like do what I need to do, right? And then the whole time I'm kind of breathing, trying to get myself to relax or whatever, so that by the time that I start my meditation, I'm somewhat relaxed. And I just keep doing deep breaths. And then what I imagine is that I am breathing in clean air. And each breath is filtering out the negativity inside of me. And so the fresh air is coming in through my nose, and out through my mouth goes the dirty air, basically, that's coming out. And I imagine that to have like little specks of black in it or big chunks of black, depending on where I am that day. How, you know, if I'm in a good place, it'll be less black. If I'm, you know, in a bad place, it'll be more. And with each additional breath, I'm cleansing this myself through breathing this way and imagining it leaving. I also do this with the water. I watch the water in my mind coming down and cleaning the dirt off of me and watching it flush into the drain. These visualizations help to calm your brain down.
Right.
It really does help. I can't even tell you. When you're doing the deep breathing and you're putting them together, it really almost feels like it's happening.
Right. But you're achieving your goal at the same time. You're manifesting your desire, which means you're meditating, you're calming yourself down, and you're centering yourself, which is all great. It's true, but you're also doing what you're imagining, and that is you're getting out the negative.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're doing.
So it's not just an imaginative process. It's actually working.
It's actually working. Yes. And the more that you believe in it, the more that it'll work. Because that's really what it's about.
I think that's you're setting your intention. Like, so maybe for you, it's in the shower. Maybe for somebody else, it's walking in the woods. Maybe for somebody, it's a quiet 5 minutes out on their back porch. Maybe somebody paints, somebody plays music.
Exactly.
There's a lot of different forms, or yoga, or, you know, your traditional sit on the floor and in cross-legged, you know.
Yep.
There's all kinds of ways, but it really is your intention.
That's exactly right. One of the other ways that I love to meditate is with music. And I'll go and lay on the couch or in bed, and usually I prop my head up a little bit so that I don't fall asleep. But music, I typically won't, because I'll pick songs that purposefully I'm not going to fall asleep to. And this morning it was funny because I put music in. I listen to music every morning. It helps me get my day started. And I was doing this stuff and, you know, writing it all down, and Comfortably Numb came on. And that is one of my favorite songs, especially if I need a deep relaxation. And so if, you know, Pink Floyd fans, even if you're not, you know, try it. Check it out, Comfortably Numb. The reason I like it is because you can pinpoint a lot of different instruments. I like to solo out the instruments to help myself with the meditation. So, like, the song will start and, I kind of relax and get into it. But then I'll tell myself, okay, now listen to the guitar. And I just listen for the guitar, or listen to the piano. And that puts you in another, like, a deeper state. You're going deeper and deeper all the time when you're doing this, right? The end of that song has so many, like, drum clashes and gongs, and I just love it, because by that point it's like, yeah, I'm into it. The hair on my arm stands up, and, you know, I'm in such a deep state of meditation that, like, nothing can break me at that point.
Yeah.
So that's a good song that I would recommend. And for me, I do better with, like, my mind wandering with the music part than I do with regular meditation. But again, for everybody, it's different.
Yeah.
Totally different. We've talked about chakra meditation and chakra cleansing in the previous episodes. One of my favorite meditations to do is, like we were talking about before, that I did with Danny the other day. You can find it on YouTube. It's called 10-Minute Chakra Balance Guided Meditation for Positive Energy. And this is by Great Meditation. It has like a drawing of like a person, your typical meditation thing with the different colors of the chakras. So it
was cool.
Really
that
animated,
part was helpful,
yeah.
especially the color aspect in pointing that out. So it gave you kind of something in your mind to focus on.
It's very good, especially when your mind is really wandering and you can't shut it off. He's very good, and he doesn't give you huge pauses in there, so it doesn't, give you that long of rest by yourself to possibly fall asleep.
Right.
I asked our listeners, why don't you meditate? If you know it's good for you, and, I've just given you all these reasons how you can do it, why don't you meditate? And I love this. This was a great question to ask. The most common one was, I can't concentrate or focus. The next one was, I can't get started. And the person, somebody added this, I can't remember who it was, but they added it to the options, and they said, like how I can't work out. And I always compare it to that. The hardest part of working out is actually getting to the gym.
Yeah.
It's walking through those doors. So with meditation, it's very similar. The hardest part is being like, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to sit down. It's actually getting yourself to do it, I think. For a lot of people.
Yeah, I think with anything worth doing, it takes a little bit of motivating yourself.
Yes.
Because you realize it takes work, and everybody's like down on, I got to do work at this.
I have to work, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be one of those. And now I have no choice.
This is, believe it or not, this is our soul's desire.
It is.
For eternity.
Yeah.
Is to work and learn. That's what we want to do. Yeah. We can slow ourselves down, which I do often, and then sometimes I kick myself in the rear and speed myself up. But it's like ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
And it's okay, it's okay to let yourself slow down sometimes, but you also have to know when to kick yourself in the rear.
Right.
And say, okay, it's time to put some work in.
Yep, exactly. Nothing comes easy.
Right.
Really, you have to put the work in. The third most common one was, I'm stubborn. And within about 30 seconds of putting this up, one of my friends messaged me and said, is this a personal attack? I was like, no, but I understand, because I'm always trying to get her to meditate. And then Chelsea said, she's talking here about her great aunt that passed away, Alice. I can see Alice rolling her eyes as I mark, I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see time being another excuse, people.
Yeah, but come on, that really is an excuse.
For 5 minutes, if that's all you really require. And if you did it on a regular basis, you probably wouldn't need more than 5 minutes.
And it becomes habit forming. So then you realize crave
you feel
those
good.
5 minutes. Yeah. You crave those. And then the fourth one was, I don't believe it will help me. I believe it'll help you.
Right.
If you do it right, I believe it'll help you. And if it doesn't, you can come back to me and say, you're wrong.
Well, that's part of this whole thing in that I've awoken to in my spiritual awakening and to the world around me. And I make these references that there's something magical and mystical happening that you can't see. There's also a lot of sad and depressing and violent things that we see in our world. But there's a lot going on that we don't see.
Yeah.
And this is proof of that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you have to believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And again, you're setting the intention.
Yep.
It's like, this is going to help me in such and such manner. And with that belief and that faith, and this is, again, an underlying theme in all religion in the world, is faith.
Yep.
You have to believe if anything's going to help you, that it's going to help you.
Exactly. That's right.
That's the bottom line.
Because if you believe it, it will happen.
Yeah, and of course it's going to be totally unmotivating to sit there and go, I'm going to dedicate 5 minutes to something I know is not going to help you.
Yeah, that's not going to work for you.
Well, then you're not going to do it, of course. But once you start looking at that and going, no, I'm going to believe that this is going to make a change and a difference, there's going to be probably a whirlwind of other changes that come after that.
Yeah. Gotta open your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's talk about grounding. So what is grounding? It's also called earthing, and grounding is a therapeutic technique that involves doing activities that ground or connect you to the earth, such as walking barefoot in grass, dirt, or sand. Water can also be used, like at the beach, lake, or streams. Some people use grounding mats. Here's the thing about grounding. You know, I read many articles on this because I ground in the shower. And I found things from other people that have said, again, it's the intention. Mm-hmm. It is what you do with it.
Right.
If you want to ground in the shower, you can ground in the shower because it's totally up to you. You know, you're going to feel a stronger connection to the earth if you're outdoors with your shoes off. Mm-hmm. When I go to the beach, it is amazing the connection that I feel. Like, I wish I could sit there all day with my feet in the water because it just makes everything okay for a little while. And that is the grounding feeling because you're connecting with earth. But if you can't go outside, you know, like let's say that you live in a place where it snows all winter long and there's snow all over the ground. Are you supposed to go outside and ground yourself? No. So you can do it any way that you want to. Right. You can, like me, do it in the shower. You can sit in a chair with your feet on the ground. As long as your feet are planted on the ground, it doesn't matter.
The energy's going to move through anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's, again, like you said, it's you're setting intention, but there is healing energy within our planet.
Right.
Within ourselves. We need to connect to that in order for it to happen.
Yep. These grounding exercises that we do, they're considered a coping strategy. So they help to lower your anxiety. And if you have bad PTSD or depression or anxiety, anything like that, the grounding helps you to set boundaries. Mm-hmm. And it is very important. So I highly recommend this for anybody that has any kind of anxiety or anything like that. I recommend it for everybody, but especially if you have those kinds of things going on, this will definitely help you feel more stable in the earth. Being ungrounded can make you feel unfocused, anxious, powerless, and even out of control. I've felt all of those things, and when I go and do my meditations, most of those things, if not all, go away.
Right.
You know?
Or they lessen it.
They lessen at least, yeah. Some days maybe they don't go away all the way, but yeah, they lessen. Signs that you are ungrounded. You're easily distracted or spaced out. You like to engage in drama, experiencing a lot of anxiety and worry, obsessed about personal image or money, poor sleep, fatigue, inflammation, or chronic pain. These are all signs that you may be not grounded properly.
Right.
And I am going to read to you, I found this online, and this is how to ground yourself. 5 techniques. One of them is the one I use, but I'm going to read some of the other ones so that you have a couple of options here.
Cool.
Feel your feet. Use this technique. This is a fast and effective technique. So if you need something quickly, this can be done 30 seconds to 1 minute. Mm-hmm. Sitting or standing, place all of your awareness on the bottom of your feet. Pay attention to all of the sensations. So you're just putting complete focus into your feet and what you're feeling at that moment. And that will help to make you feel grounded. It also helps to shut your mind off a little bit. Follow your breath. Close your eyes as you inhale. Trace the air as it enters your nose and goes into your lungs. On the exhale, follow the air leaving your lungs and exiting your nose or mouth. This is similar to what I use for my meditation. Yeah. You can use it for grounding. You just mix them up. Don't use the same thing for everything. But this is the one that I use and the one that I recommend. Stand with your feet parallel. You're going to become a tree. So you're going to stand with your feet parallel and at least shoulders width from anything. Okay, so you can totally reach your arms out to your side. Mm-hmm. But yeah, nothing else around you. Keep your head floating above your body, chin tucked and spine straight. So you want to be completely straight with this. Rest your hands on your side, then place them over your navel. Okay. You're going to sink all of your weight and tension into your feet, almost like you feel like you're collapsing. But what you're doing is you're allowing the ground to absorb that energy. And then you're going to visualize roots coming out from the bottom of your feet. Okay. I did this today and it was different. And I think what they were trying to tell me why it was different, because I feel like I get my meditations a lot from the other side, was that I could explain that it doesn't have to be done outside. What I saw in my visualization today was the roots coming out of my feet and actually breaking into the ground, like breaking the bathtub apart, shattering it all, and the roots going. I don't normally see that. I just see, the roots going into the ground. But today I actually visualized the bathtub breaking from my roots. And then I take a breath in, and with each exhale, my roots go deeper and deeper into the ground. And then when I feel like my roots are deep enough, I do like where I lean forward and lean back into the side, and you feel that you're stable, you're grounded, you're right there, you're one with the earth.
Right.
That is the one that gets me through. And it's quick, it's easy. Just pretend you're a tree and make your roots grow into the ground.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love that one. So let's see. Okay, so let's move on to shielding. I want to make sure we get this all in. This is the final stage of your meditation. This practice makes sure that the good stays in and the bad stays out. Just like a physical shield protects you physically, an emotional field protects you emotionally. Shielding is protecting yourself from energetic attacks.
Right.
So now you've done all this good to make yourself feel better, and you have to close it in. You have to close the box, right?
Right.
Okay, so you start by focusing on the energy that you're feeling. Take some deep breaths and then breathe in the air with positive energy. Okay, this is where I was talking about that I started losing focus today. That I was breathing this positive energy in and it was bringing gold up my legs and kind of I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like with each breath, gold is coming up my legs and higher and higher. I love gold. But then I feel my whole body with the gold. My whole body becomes gold.
My whole body
loves gold. Isn't that weird? And then you kind of visualize that inside gold expanding to the outside. So it becomes a shield around you. It becomes a big, bright shield around you. And like they said in school, what bounces off me sticks to you. Yeah. And so that's what I visualize is I visualize people throwing words at me or things at me or whatever it is that I feel like might be a challenge in my day. I visualize things coming at this shield and bouncing right off.
Yeah.
It's not my problem. You take it back. And then inside is where the positive energy stays.
Yeah.
It's very strong. Doing that will make you feel very strong and very confident. Mm-hmm. It really has helped me so much. So much, I can't even tell you. So, the three together, they make the most amazing combination, but you can separate them. If you don't have time to do all three, or if you feel like, I don't feel grounded, or, right. Whatever it is, you're out in nature. Right. I've done that a few times where we'll be out in nature and I just take my shoes off if I feel comfortable. I don't go through the whole meditation process, and I might not even shield afterwards, but that grounding, especially in nature, is just absolutely amazing. It really is. So I highly recommend that everybody give this a shot. It's not easy, like we've said, but with practice, it really, really will help benefit you, especially if you're on a spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. If you are on any kind of spiritual journey, really... Yeah, it's almost not an option. Yeah. It's you have to, right?
In some fashion, you have to.
In some fashion, yeah, absolutely.
You just have to find what works best for you.
You do, yeah. And everybody is different. So we're going to actually do a meditation.
Yeah.
And to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea of how this works.
Cool.
So, yeah, I think that we should do that for our listeners. Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful.
Cool. All
right, so let's get ready for our meditation. Whenever you are ready, Mr. Jones. Okay, so first, you need to sit in a comfortable position, someplace that you won't be disturbed. If you have an eye mask, you can put that on now. That will help you block out the light and help keep you focused. When you're comfortable, we are going to take a deep breath in and out. In through our nose and out through the mouth. Let's do that 2 more times. In through the nose and out through the mouth. in through the nose and out through the mouth. Take a moment to check to see, are your shoulders up by your ears? Is your jaw clenched? Make sure that everything is relaxed. Try and relax all those face muscles, your shoulder muscles. Start to bring awareness to the noises around you. You'll use those noises to help you fall deeper into your meditation. They are not distractions. They are instead tools to help you to go deeper into your meditation. Keep taking those deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Start to notice how your body feels right now. Does it feel tense? Does it feel really heavy? Draw your attention to the one area that stands out to you the most, that could use some relaxation. Imagine in your mind's eye this area softening. Visualize bringing bright light into this area. Fill it full of love. Continue to help that area relax. Taking deep breaths and out. Breathe into that area. Breathe all of that good air in and out. Now take notice of how that area feels. Does it feel more relaxed? Let's do this again. Let's pick another area that is tense and could use some softening. Draw your attention to that area and imagine in your mind's eye that area softening. Bring that white, bright light back into it with deep breaths. And out. And in. And out. Now let's draw your attention to your feet. Start with your toes. Wiggle your toes a little bit. Feel everything. Feel all of the feelings that you have right now in your feet and relax them. Relax your feet. And now let's move up into your legs. Relax your calves. Stretch them out if you need to. Envision bringing that white light into your feet and your legs, and then becoming softer and more relaxed. Move up into your thighs and relax that area as well. If you have lower back problems, make sure that you're not holding your tension in your lower back. Breathe deep into that area and out. Feel how comfortable the lower half of your body feels, how much more relaxed the area feels. Unclench any muscles that you may still be clenching in that lower half of your body at this point. And then we're going to work up the rest of your body through your spine, your solar plexus, your chest, all of this area. Just relax, all of it. If you're starting to wander, bring your focus back to center. If you're starting to fall asleep, wake yourself up a little bit and bring back to center, and you can continue right from where you are right now. Imagine your shoulders, everything in your neck and your shoulders and your arms and your hands is loosening up. Stretch your fingers out, move them around a little bit to feel all of the feelings and feel the stress exiting. All of the anxiety exiting through those fingertips. Let all of the excess energy exit out through your fingertips. Work your way up now into your third eye and your head and your crown area. A lot of us hold tension here in between our eyes. Relax your jaw, your face muscles. Breathe into your third eye. And breathe out your mouth. Relax that third eye and the top of your head. Imagine everything is very soft now. Your whole body is relaxed. And you're feeling so much less stress, so much less anxiety. Your body should feel better than it did before. And your mind should feel like it's maybe not wandering as much. If it is, let's just bring it back to center. We're now going to shield you to protect you from the day ahead. This is a very important part of your meditation. Envision now a bright ball of gold light that's off in the distance. And as it gets closer and closer, you can see that this gold light is going to totally envision you. It's going to surround you with its beautiful gold light. And as it does, your deep breaths in, bring that gold air in, and you blow it out, the negative air, and you keep that positive. Bring that gold in with each breath. Bring it down to your feet. Fill your whole body up with this beautiful gold energy, starting at your now relaxed feet, working your way up your legs. Envision your whole body encompassed with this beautiful gold light inside of it, all the way up through your back, your shoulders, your neck, your head, all the way filling up your body. And now it has no place to go, so it needs to expand. And you now see the gold around your entire body, a bright gold shield around you and inside of you. It's all there protecting you. Feel this bright light as a hug from the universe. The universe has your back. Every day, today and every day, the universe is behind you. Take through your day today the comfort of knowing that you are loved and protected, and that you have done an amazing thing for yourself today with this meditation and shielding exercise. Go forward today in your day today with gratitude and love and peace, and bring it to everyone around you. Namaste. Okay, so let's slowly open our eyes and come back to the day. Take all the time that you need. If you want to pause this or finish this here, that's okay. Take all the time you need. Sometimes it is good after a meditation to just sit. Just sit for a few minutes and let it all kick in, unless you're going to fall asleep, in which case you can get up now. So anyways, that's just an example of like good. One way that, I meditate, and that I was thinking that maybe if we could do something like that for our listeners, that it would help them to get a little bit better of an idea of what a meditation, right. A simple meditation is like.
Yeah, you don't have to be real long.
No. And
anything super extravagant.
Right.
Whatever suits you. But I think that was a good example of what you can do just simply. You don't even have to have the music or any sounds, but if you prefer it, there's plenty of things you can find on the internet that are real chill and easy to meditate to.
Some people meditate with nothing. They can do that. And you know what? I can too, but I prefer not to, because that's when my mind wanders the most. So I don't. But some people, that's what they like to do. So you just never know.
When I go out in nature, when we go out there, I love that where I like to hear the birds and the wind and animals. When you're living in a suburban area, you hear traffic and airplanes, and at first I found that sort of distracting.
Right.
But now I sort of embrace it as part of everything around me that makes me realize that I'm here.
Yes, absolutely. It's
an interesting concept. I don't know how to exactly explain it.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's But yeah, absolutely. You have to use it as a distraction.
Yeah.
Yep. Or not as a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, that was very cool.
Yeah, I like the episode, and I know that I shove this topic in people's faces all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I sound like, a robot talking about it all the time, but I wouldn't talk about it all the time if I didn't believe in it, and I didn't think that it was a really super important part of anybody's journey, but especially in a spiritual journey.
Absolutely.
So there you have it. Meditation 101.
Very nice. All right. Well, before we say goodbye to all of our friends, would you like to share your page?
Yes, let's do that. Well, first, you know what I'd like to? I'd like to say thank you to you for playing your guitar for us today for that meditation.
Well, thank you.
I meant to do that before.
Please don't judge.
Oh, come on now. Come on. You're a wonderful musician.
Appreciate it.
Okay. So my page is SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. You can find everything you want to know about me there. Send me a message. We can set up a reading. Or if you'd like to reach us at the show, spiritualjoneses@gmail.com. Send your requests. If you have any ideas for shows or anything you want to talk about,
please
send them there.
Awesome.
And you, sir?
Yes, for my art, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Instagram and Facebook. For the music, gypsybrown.com for the web, at Gypsy Brown Music for Instagram, and at Gypsy Brown Band for Facebook.
Yay.
That's all I got.
Fantastic.
Well, we hope everybody got something out of this week.
That we do.
I did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was very nice.
Good.
And a good reminder.
Yeah. It's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
We hope everybody has a great week.
We sure do.
And until next week, peace and love.